it's on the bottom. Oh my gosh.
Did you get it? Did you get it in your mouth?
Tell me.
Rub it in. Just rub it deeper into the
That's what I
beard
do.
until it's gone. Hey, Podcast America. Welcome to episode 66 of the Enlightened Neanderthals. And we'll talk about my own company, Training Northwest. You can find it at trainingnorthwestllc.com. And we're back up to 3 open spots for the rifleman camp. Our homie Justin had to cancel. He's got some engagements he's got to take care of, which is a bummer.
Mono?
COVID and AIDS. So got them both at the same time. Weird.
COVID's is a motherfucker.
Interesting. Interesting.
Must have been going to the massage parlors. But anyway, still open spots for the rifleman camp if that's something that fancies you. It's coming up August 9 to 11. Show notes. This was a fun one. We were ranting and passionate. Jordan was passionate.
Yeah.
Mike
He's a man of passion.
He's a man of passion.
I like being sidelined sometimes
we
in front of you passionate men.
We went from politics and revolution to jiu-jitsu to foot fetishes.
I think our idea was how money...
Our idea. No, revolution is our idea.
No. Let's
fucking go, Mike.
Our theme of the day was how maybe the system is a little too big and it's hard to break through the system and get into it and what the system actually is.
No, I think our idea was breaking the system.
Yeah, breaking the system.
Let's break it.
But it divulged into a little bit of wrestling talk, grappling talk.
Yeah.
We wouldn't
S's and Z's. A lot of S's and Z's.
Is this actually the first time in 66 episodes that we have talked about jiu-jitsu at length? More than like a minute or two?
No, I don't know. I don't think so. But
No?
either way, we talked about
Oh, fuck me.
good
That's
shit and enjoy the episode, guys.
Yeah.
Here we go. What do they want? Power. That's it, right? Like, so it makes sense that that's like...
And just look at like the attempted short of all the Trump stocks 2 days before the assassination.
Oh, isn't that fucking weird?
Yeah, it was an accounting error. It was we put too many zeros in there.
Well, is it BlackRock? I heard, and again, this is just
Shut the fuck
see
up.
shit on internet, right? But like one guy was saying like, oh, the shooter, like the goofy
BlackRock
looking
model.
kid, he was a BlackRock in a BlackRock
commercial.
It was on a TV commercial.
Yeah, never seen it, but I never seen the commercial. I just heard about.
I've seen it on the internet now.
Yeah.
I don't have a TV, so I guess I couldn't have seen it on TV. So anyway,
He's
I
in
wanted
the gun
to,
range at the commercial.
I wanted to
It's
read
like,
you
this is
guys
too
this.
spot on.
This is a tweet from a tweetx from
Tweet's fine.
This
we
guy's
can
name is
understand.
Nirav Sheth. He's in Washington State, and it says, "I won't pay any taxes from today to this corrupt government." Talking about Washington State. What the fuck? Don't have any words anymore. My another business will have no business insurance from September. All the lawlessness and policy failures are pushing small businesses to the limit. What should I do? I have family and employees' families to support. I need help. And what it is his business was dropped from insurance because he's had too many theft claims over the last 3 years because his business is repeatedly being robbed. And so now he can't get insurance, which means the next time he gets robbed, he will be bankrupted. And it's just indicative of all the failed policies that have been implemented, not just here, but all up and down the West Coast the last 10 years. But it actually makes me kind of excited because he says here, and then the follow-up like response or whatever, my landlords will kick me out and I will be filing bankruptcy along with 18 employees who lose their jobs. Great job. Fuck this current Washington State administration. And it's like, fuck yes. Here's a guy who he's got his back against the wall and he's saying, I'm done. I'm not going to fund this government anymore. And this is kind of what I've been trying to say, it seems like, for a long time now. Not a long time, but since 2020, which is that we can take over the state without not one iota of violence. All you have to do, if you're a person who actually provides something of use, a good or a service that is of use to other people, is stop paying your taxes, because you are the person who creates value from nothing.
Yeah.
And if enough of us were to say, fuck it, I'm not paying taxes, then you push the state into a situation where they have to start threatening you because they don't create anything and they need your money.
Yeah.
They have to threaten you first, and then they have to apply pressure to you. And in the end, their final recourse is to send men with guns to your house.
Yeah.
So the very same people who are very pro gun control don't want you armed. In the end, they need your production, or they will send men with guns to your house to either kill you or put you in a cage for not giving them some of what you created. But it's like I said, if enough people were to stand up and say, no, we're done, we're not paying taxes, then it would force them to sort of show that hand, right? And at that point, look at what's going on across the nation. Everybody is now seeing in real time that, yes, there is, like, more and more people are realizing there is such thing as a deep state. They're not happy with the status quo. They tried to take out the front runner in the presidential election because he's not down to play their game. And then just today, or I guess yesterday, Saturday, Biden announces that he's stepping down, which sort of shows how much the Democratic National Party functions like a mob, where you have different power factions, like the Bidens, the Obamas, and the Clintons. They're all at the top, and they're all
at the table.
Exactly. So they basically staged a coup within their own party against the sitting president of the United States.
Yep. And guess what? Now there's not going to be any kind of election to get that nominee in.
Yeah.
So hang on.
I mean, who knows? Because the only thing we know is that they don't actually play by the rules. But I don't want to get distracted by the national election just yet, because I think there's a far much more important issue, which is that we could legitimately start a Washington state revolution of just saying, hey, we're not paying taxes and we're going to force the hand, because I'm at a point where the government has become so predatory and oppositional to the middle class and the lower class that I am willing to risk, like, whatever life looks like without a government for 6 months or 2 years.
Get through it.
Yeah, I am willing to go there. And it may be dangerous. It will
most definitely be dangerous.
Or you don't know, because maybe real leadership would rise. It will
damper out
rise.
of the problems quicker.
Exactly. And maybe we will end up 10 years from now with a very good situation. Whereas if we just keep going, like, everybody's like, oh, vote for Dave Reichert, he's a Republican. No, it won't be better. The idea that you can vote, and honestly, just voting Donald Trump into the presidency, that's not going to fix all the problems. All the problems are embedded so fucking deep that there's only one way to get them out, and that's to root them all out. And there's an easy way to do it, which is to starve. You can starve them out by saying, no, I'm not going to pay you anymore. I'm not willing to pay for the service that you provide, because it's no longer valuable to me. And in fact, it's gotten so bad that I'm willing to risk the alternative, whatever that may be. And that's kind of where the signers of the Declaration of Independence had to be, right? Because
they drew a line.
Let's say Mike and I decide, hey, our small businesses, we're not paying taxes, and we're towing this line, or we're holding this line. We're probably going to get audited. We're probably going to be investigated on some whatever they can find. You know what I mean? They're going to apply pressure to you. And if you are not willing to lose literally everything you have, then you're not really in this. And so there's a whole lot of people online who want to consider themselves patriots, and they kind of pound their chest and they say, let's go. And it's like, all right, motherfucker, put it all on the line right now. Swear allegiance to something like this and actually take the action, and understand that it may fail. Yeah. And if it fails, you may end up either in jail or dead without a penny to your name. Because I remembered, it wasn't on recording, but I read you guys that little thing that was going around on Independence Day about the 57 signers of the Declaration of Independence. And like, a bunch of them were killed in the Revolutionary War. A bunch of them lost everything they had because the British government came after them hard. And the reality is, anybody who wants to consider themselves a revolutionary or a patriot, if you really want to say, hey, I'm an American and I'm willing to die for this country. Okay, are you willing to lose everything? Because I bet a lot of people, when they go, not my house.
Yeah.
Well, but we're also reaching that tipping point, and it's obvious. Like, you can feel it in the air that the old regime, the old ways, they're being exposed, and they're like the shadow, the light is shining into the shadow.
Yeah.
If ever there was a time to restart our state government in a way, and I'm not talking about like something insidious. I'm talking about restart in a way that serves us, the people, of, by, and for the people, the way it's supposed to be.
When you looking at the guy who is having the problem, let's say he's got a store that's being robbed. At what point is it his duty to protect his own store? without his hands being tied. And is that the change that needs to happen as well? Is like the laws of like, hey, no, somebody's stealing from me and I'm going to cut his fucking hand off.
That pushes you over the line of violence, which in this country gets you condemned. Like you and I are okay with that, but it gets you condemned from like a political movement perspective. If we all just said we're not paying taxes anymore, we'll starve this government. We could starve them out in a month. It would take a month. What's fucking Jay Inslee and Bob Ferguson going to do when they have no money to pay themselves? What will they do when they can't pay their staff salaries? There's a Washington State IRS. What will they do when their paychecks aren't coming through? Will they keep showing up to work and like, well, we got to go after these guys? But they said no, and they're willing to fight about it. They don't want to fight about it, but I'm willing.
Well, don't you think it'd take a little longer than a month, realistically? I think it would probably go probably
2 weeks.
Yeah, or maybe who knows? Maybe
take some time because
maybe it takes years because maybe the federal government starts diverting money to cover the salaries of the function. Like we're literally talking about what we do overseas, where we prop up a quote unquote functioning government in the middle of a coup in one of these Middle East countries, and we're just sending them money to pay their employees and their military so that they can claim that they're the legitimate power. It's no different.
Yeah,
this is the playbook that our government uses against other countries almost every fucking year. Why shouldn't we use it right here?
That doesn't seem like individual like citizens. That seems more like Civil War playbook where you're trying to support the states that are for.
Yeah, it's a regime change. It's a regime change, and that's kind of what we need here. And I'm saying there's a way to do it peacefully.
Well, you might not even have to. Like,
I think okay, peacefully to you.
It
the
forces
most violent way to the government because that's all they give a fuck about.
Oh, they'll call it racist and violent.
Well, what I'm saying.
What do they call it? Like domestic extremism?
No, I'm saying the most violent thing you could do to the government is not give them money.
Yeah.
They don't care if you die.
No, they don't.
And that's what I'm saying. So violence to them is money.
Yeah. Well, violence is a means to money for them. Look at all the wars in Iraq. You know what I mean? Iraq, Afghanistan, those were wars for resources.
I get that, but what I'm trying to convey, I guess, is that they don't care about the violence because it doesn't come to their doorstep ever.
Until it does.
But now we're talking about a different thing.
And here's the other reality is that it would have to go to a very high level before it came to their doorstep. And I know I've said this on this podcast before. If you're a police officer, if you're a FBI agent, DHS, you have to start thinking about where your loyalties lie because my beef is not with a police officer. They're just like me. They're middle class. They got a family. Their kids go to public school, and they're trying to make a good life in their community for themselves. But we get into this weird conflict when you go, hey, man, I'm just doing my job, and I need my retirement. But I need to restrict your civil rights for that purpose. Or if I say I'm done paying taxes, and I'm sorry your salary comes out of that, but the government that you are a paid enforcer for no longer serves me, and I don't want to pay for it, I don't want to fund it, then they have to decide, well, am I going to fight for my paycheck? Am I willing to sacrifice my morals for a paycheck and a pension? Yeah. Because they all know they're wrong. They know they're on the wrong side. They know they represent a corrupt system. They're wearing a fucking badge on their shoulder that has the emblem of a corrupt entity. And they carry a gun to enforce its rules.
That goes in the same way as, like, in my opinion, like the revolution of the past. Like the American Revolution of the past was due to taxing without representation. And in my opinion, just overtaxing to a point where it was hard and you were controlling the people from England in America, where Americans were like, we have no connection with the king or anything, and we make everything happen here. And when that happened, it was more forcefully done, where it's like we're being spit on, we are under the boot, we are being overtaxed, and we are not being properly represented or given the proper course.
Sounds familiar,
have a good yes. But so that's how it's happened in the past. And I think it's very easy to look at it because that's what's happened in the past. So you take past examples and you apply it to your current situation. One thing I have to think about is the accident or the sheer buffoonery which has existed in government institutions throughout the past. But it makes me think of when we did the episode of vigilantism. And when we talked about that, we talked about small businesses being broken into in Seattle, and there was very bad response times, and you have constant people ODing in front of your businesses, in your businesses, vandalizing your businesses. And there's been so many reports of small businesses shutting in the Seattle area. And so then it becomes, well, I used to call the cops and now I don't call the cops. And now I kind of take matters into my hand a little bit more. So when you see these, and it seems like these giant cities are the ones that have these major problems. It's not it's a population density problem. And as much as I'd like to say it's just the left, it's like, no, look at a lot of right-leaning cities. Just these population densities and these overcrowding of homeless and drugs.
Right-leaning city?
I'm trying to. Is there such thing as a right-leaning city? Austin's left
the city, but the state.
Even Houston is.
But
left.
the state.
Yeah, but the city is
the state is half blue. Texas is New California.
They're kind of
buddy.
purple.
It's
but because they had
anymore.
everyone move.
Yeah.
But even places, I mean, Cowboy.
I don't know that I could name a red, a large city that's
name
red.
a single red city.
Yeah, maybe you can't.
No, and that's
is
the
Florida?
No.
Or I mean, Miami.
Oh, like Tallahassee, maybe, or
maybe Tallahassee, maybe somewhere in there.
Yeah, that might be about it. Maybe Charleston,
What's
South
the
Carolina,
biggest city
or
in
something.
West
I don't know, Raleigh,
Virginia?
North Carolina.
Yeah, but do you think there's issues out there? I doubt it.
They still have
You'll
all the
always
meth.
have drug
Dude, it's
issues.
Florida.
But-
They have all the meth issues and the bath
Yeah.
salt issues that we do up here.
But where I was going with that is maybe like because so many people in these crowded and dense areas, they have to take matters into their own hand. And there's like, what's the point of the police? Maybe
I should say it's also worth pointing out that if someone invades your home in Florida and you shoot them, the sheriff tells you good.
Yeah, the
leave
law
you
is a
alone.
little different there.
Here you'll be tried for murder.
But maybe the government collapse itself with its own incompetency.
Yes, that's what's happening.
Yes.
That's what's happening right
Maybe
now.
you don't even have to be like 1776. We fight back. It's like
No, we just need
the
collapse is
crumble
happening.
on its own.
We could nudge it over the edge by just stopping paying taxes.
Yeah.
And it's already
that's
on its
what
way
you
out.
see people doing because
let's kick the legs
yeah.
out from under it.
If the
But
cop-
I mean, anything you buy, you're paying taxes.
That's true. You're saying, but you can withhold, especially if you're a business owner. So I don't know. I don't even know if I can withhold it from my payroll. Actually, you can. You can go claim 99, and you
paying
can
at the end of the year or quarterly.
you can withhold your income tax from the state.
Or you can
And
just
then
never go get a
then-
business license to
and then-
begin with.
That's true. Yeah, do
just
everything for
do
cash.
what you
That's
do.
the alternate economy, which is the
Hey.
underground economy, which runs for cash, which
Anybody
I
need a
also
fence?
very
Let me
much
know.
encourage. And while we're talking about it, I traded I have a customer who makes quilts. She made me a badass quilt for my bed in exchange for class registration fees. So I'm all about the barter system as well.
yeah.
I think that's really the move.
Yeah.
Is that, but at that point the bank is the fucking farmer. At the end of the day, really, that's what we need. The most,
Well, I mean, that's what the bank is. It's like a cutout that gets in between you and the person you're exchanging with, and then they skim 10% off of it, and you don't actually need them. Mm-mm. And that's why the Fed and all now
getting
into the monetary system.
The fact that we have technology now that could really just relay us straight to the source of what we want. We could have a conversation with a farmer, and a farmer could say, "Hey, this is what I'm going to do. It's going to lower the amount of cost because I'm dealing directly with consumers. I have an additional maybe overhead, but it's not going to be the same as trucking fees, fucking ship, like all the different stuff, the shipping, going to the store having to pay for it, dealing with the government and all their bullshit taxes. Everybody's got to pay."
Yeah.
Right? The farmer's got to pay taxes, the trucker's got to pay taxes, and the store's got to pay taxes on that single pack of beef.
Yeah.
As opposed to being able to go, I'm going to talk to a farmer and he's going to give me some fucking beef.
Yeah.
Like whether or not he has or growing corn or whatever it may be, like at some point there has got to be a way with the technology we have to make that streamlined and cut out all of the bullshit in between.
Yeah.
And you think
Yeah,
that's
Facebook
kind of
Marketplace, dude.
and realistically, let's be honest.
Well,
like,
that's
you know,
why
It's
something.
called Craigslist.
yeah, there's ways in which to do things.
That's
like that,
why
where
there's-
it's like we don't need so
Yeah.
much overhead.
Well, that's why they're like Bitcoin is very cool in the way that it operates, in that it is a peer-to-peer file sharing, and then it does every 8 minute, it does a self audit, and it uses every other device that's plugged into the network to help audit itself. But it constantly is seeing if there is inflation or artificial growth put into the algorithm to be like someone's trying to hack this or inflate a coin's currency. And so there are certain truths through technology that you could get a self audit. Like if there was just I bought this cow and I paid the tax for it. Now this has been taxed. And this cow, let's trace it. And I raise it, there's grain I raise it, I cut it up, I sell it. I don't need to put more tax on something that's already existed. If we could itemize out things, I mean, yeah, you could have a level of, I mean, yes, it's invading privacy, but it's also giving you transparency. Where is the definition of where the two
But
I don't want transparency in my private life.
the ability to have a ledger and call things back up. It shouldn't just be general knowledge, but to see that you've already paid a tax on this cow.
Yeah, I don't want
That's
that.
a nice thing.
Get rid of the tax altogether.
Yeah.
The tax doesn't need to be there.
I just want
Nah,
I just want a
but
straight exchange of
roads,
goods.
healthcare.
Imagine a straight exchange of goods and services.
Yeah, but
without a bank, there's two I should say overarching entities, the bank and the government, that are skimming off of every interaction you make or every transaction you make.
True.
And it doesn't need to be that way.
True. Well, there's always going to be a little, because why put my money in something? If I have tons of money for some reason, why put my money if there's no guarantees it's
Yeah,
stable?
why put it in the bank?
Yeah. What? Because
Because
it makes me
there-
money.
Does it?
Yeah.
What's a savings account right now? Like 0.9%?
But when you have
Has a savings account ever been higher than inflation?
if savings is 2%, if you have $100 million, you just made $2 million.
But if inflation is 3%,
True, it's still growing.
they say
but-
in good times inflation is 3%, and savings accounts are always a little bit below whatever inflation is,
But
because the house always wins.
But to make anything happen, you have to have capital to do it. And that's what a bank is an area where tons of capital and resource sits.
Right, and then they can
to
finance
loan.
their homies, and so a select group get rich off the savings of the hardworking. Whereas I think we need to fucking
it on its head.
Yeah, exactly. Flip that shit on its ass. Because imagine if your neighborhood wanted to resurface the road, and you just figured out, get a quote, get 3 quotes, do your homework, then divide it by 16 houses and say, hey guys, here's the deal. If we're resurfacing, everybody has to be in. It's going to cost everybody $400. Yay or nay?
Yeah.
And
Hey
either-
guys, do you want to do the work yourself?
Yeah, that's true. We can save half if you guys want to get out there with shovels for 3 days. It's going to be hot and shitty.
Yeah,
and there's
but
some
guess
places
what?
where people will say yes, and some places they'll say no, and that's fine.
The thing is we've gotten away from that community work, right? Look at what technology wants and what they're talking about the brim tat motherfuckers.
The Amish?
Yeah, but they call them something else. The
Mennonites?
Mennonites. So yeah, the
Mennonites.
Mennonites. And how they work together the way they do to
Yeah, they can
build
raise
community.
they can put a barn up in like 3 fucking days.
Yeah, but they're never going to fly anywhere.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
Is it
I
because
think they do.
Is that because they push?
No,
technology?
Mennonites are never going to be the guys to invent airplanes.
Why not? Or
Because
the guys who
it's-
invented
they're
airplanes
too
were just
busy-
like them. They were in a
they're
fucking
too
warehouse.
busy racing barns to invent transistors
Bullshit.
and
If
advance
you
aviation.
get curious, it's only because they shun some of that stuff. I think
The
if they
amount
don't,
of-
True,
don't they
but-
have workshops where they're coming up with
You guys,
different ways
look at
to
how
use-
much time I spend mowing my lawn and
The
weed
amount of-
whacking.
yeah.
Do you know how much more I could do in life if I farmed that out technically?
Buy a goat.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
There you go.
I got a
Done.
mini
Done.
horse there right
You're done. You got a fence. Put a goat out there. Done.
But then I got to build more fences so my goat doesn't eat my garden.
So build a couple fences.
Yeah.
But then that's still taking away from other time I could be
So
doing.
what?
things.
But you do it.
That you could be earning money to pay taxes.
I could take out a loan with the bank to build me a bunch of fences for my goats. But that's what I feel some of it is like resource and time mitigation. It's like, yes, community is great and you want that. You need that. And it, as a human, it's something that I think inherently makes your life better.
Imagine
is
if you lived in a community where you could just stand up a barn in 3 days and you didn't have to take out a loan to hire a pole barn contractor or refinance your house, get a home equity loan.
You'd probably do it for $15,000 to $20,000.
That then takes you 15 years to pay off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the system that we're sort of stuck in.
Yeah, and you're paying fucking $25,000 in permits for finding out if you're living on a ancient burial ground.
It's a bird migration study.
Yeah, exactly. It's a wetland study, and it's
because it might be salmon habitat.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, you guys.
This backyard could have salmon in it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like you imagine living in a community like that, where you have 3 square miles.
But then it's like you move into cults.
Yeah, you're like, hey, Ezekiel, Jebediah, barn time. Let's go, boys.
But then you're moving into like, then it's like,
or is it a community that has each other's back?
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
And is that a cult?
Well, if you're busy and you can't make it, and
Busy doing what?
Your life, trying to do
what's
more.
wrong? What's wrong with living that
Sometimes
life?
overtime, working overtime, doing your own thing.
Why are you working overtime?
I'm trying to achieve more and become more.
What is
Elon Musk worked a lot of overtime, and he's putting rockets on Mars.
Yeah.
And without that overtime of making PayPal and doing that, you're never going to get there.
How many
That's
rockets
why
have you
there's
fired?
not a lot
How many
of
rockets
Amish,
have you fired
but
from
that's why there's
Kazakhstan?
not a lot of Amish on the moon. That's what I mean.
There's not anybody on the moon.
What you need is the freedom to whoever you are in this world. You have the freedom to do that. And in doing so, you're not being overtaxed. You're not being overburdened. You're not being overregulated.
You are being overburdened.
Yes, you are. You're overburdened and overtaxed and overregulated.
No, but
all
that's
three. The fucking holy trinity, brother.
But
that's what I'm saying is the goal is to figure out a society where that exists, where you can have these things and where it's just, I guess it just goes to what I think as smaller government. I mean, that's what we all.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we're
and
all
not only a
talking
smaller
about
government,
it.
but a government that is there to assist in the success of the constituents.
But just because
And
you have
we've said
small
this before.
government doesn't mean you don't have exponential
You wanna put a
growth of
rocket on the moon?
technology and business and all this stuff. We're just talking about
to be honest with
the
you, is life better with
infrastructure.
technology? Like, is your smartphone made your life? Is it better that we have smartphones and fucking cable TV and shit?
We wouldn't have this
And microphones?
podcast.
But we'd still
We
be sitting
wouldn't
around.
be doing
We'd still
the-
be sitting around this table, fucking having the same goddamn conversation.
Pre-roll joints are pretty nice, and that is because of tech. And what does it want to be smoked? But that's a form of it. And even if you had a culture where it was a tribe and you had a bunch of people growing weed and living harmoniously.
But
and
okay,
then
hold
they're
on. Let me cut you off real quick. Just on the pre-roll joints.
Spicoli.
Just that. So you live in a society that values work and knowledge and having each other's back and doing the right thing and living in this life where you can kind of get by, but you can also find the thing that you're interested in.
Yeah.
And you're interested in, going to the moon or whatever, whatever the fuck
whatever
it is
gay shit you're like,
whatever bullshit you're into.
I'm going to the queer moon, dude.
But I guess what I'm saying is at some point there's going to be a guy who's like, I just really enjoy weed.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to grow weed. And guess what? There's going to be somebody who wants to learn what I've learned about weed. And he's going to end up having like an apprentice role. Mm-hmm. In that apprentice role, he will be rolling joints.
Yeah.
And maybe that's part of his role, is rolling these pre-made joints.
Yeah.
And maybe part of your role is just to trade for the pre-made joints that this guy has.
Yeah, but also in that egalitarian society.
Egalitarian, don't fucking swear at me.
These words that you say, these people that are supposed to be free and we're in this community, now this guy has a person working for him. And because this person could have been raising a barn
learning under
Yeah,
him.
but
I never
now
worked for my
they're
wrestling
taking
coach.
time
I never
away,
worked for my
and
wrestling
now
coach.
he
One
has
day,
to roll these joints.
God damn it, dude.
That's what there's
you're
always
crazy.
sacrifice. That's a caveman. That's an office man. You have to sacrifice time with loved ones. You have to sacrifice.
I don't think you do.
But
I don't
you're-
think you should.
You're coming up with that. That is a completely separate situation, right? Like what I'm talking about is you're learning, you're gaining from it. Right?
Yeah.
You're gaining experience. You go to a practice. Are you upset you went and worked at a practice?
No.
Do you feel like you owe somebody something for that practice, from that knowledge that you just got?
No.
Then what the fuck are we talking about? Because that guy rolling those joints, he's learning.
Yes.
Yeah, if it's something you're passionate about, it's not.
And guess
it's
what?
not work. It's not labor. And
That's where art comes from.
But
oh my god,
That's
I wish
where
that was on
passion.
video.
That's where passion is. Like you follow your passion and you really get into something.
and that's also where success comes
Yeah,
from. Because when
and
you
that's
stop,
what
when you
happens.
don't care about the
Never work a
profit
day in
because
your
you're
life.
trying to pay the taxes and the bills and the mortgage. Exactly. Yeah, your life is just nothing but fulfillment because you're just doing the thing you love. And one of the things I hate about this current system is the way it stifles people who are just trying to do the thing they enjoy doing. And it's worth taking it as extreme as it needs to get, because my two kids, if I ask them what they want to do when they grow up, my older boy will say he wants to own a hunting outfitters business, and my younger boy wants to own a bakery. And who cares if they're goofball kid dreams? The fact is they want to
I
be.
like them both.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I mean,
exactly.
I laughed because it's like, well, both of them sound.
Yeah,
pretty
exactly.
good.
But imagine if that was your, like, we
But
laugh
that
because
is
it's like, no, man, no, you got to go get a 9 to 5 and grind in traffic and sit and
A little
fucking,
bit.
get a Prozac prescription or Adderall or whatever the fuck it is and develop a drinking habit. And it's like, do you? Or is it okay to just be like, you know what? I want to take people hunting. This is what I like doing.
No, it's
I like
fine
making
to do
treats.
that.
I want to have a bakery and make treats that people come in and buy. Because if we weren't trapped in this system, I think, or I should say, it's still possible, but it is so fucking hard to make it as a small business now. It has become, the burden has become so big that a lot of people just say, fuck it, it's not worth trying. I'm just going to go
It's
get a job.
supposed to
What
be
ends
hard,
up
though.
what ends up happening
That's-
is that you
And we
find-
could stop it all tomorrow. Just say,
We
I'm
could,
not
but
paying. I'm not paying the regulatory fees. I'm not getting the license. I'm not paying the taxes because this system is breaking me. This system is actively opposing me.
Yes.
Why would you fund a system that opposes you, that tries to make your life hard? Why does our government try to make it harder to run a business?
No.
Unless you're in the multi-million-dollar category. Then they'll suck your dick all day long. But if you're in the $100,000 to $500,000 category, or shit, even 10 million or less category, they're just going to come down on you with a hammer.
But the system is fine. It's the direction in which
system
the
is not
system is going.
I cut Jordan off.
He threw his headphones
Yeah, he
down.
threw his headphones in frustration.
No, well, I'm with, you got to back up a few different steps there, but like there is a point where it will take somebody more money to follow their passion.
Yeah,
Period.
absolutely.
Plain and simple. And then, but it's within that society to decide, hey, this is what we truly believe and what we agree with, and this is our ethics and morals and whatever, and we want somebody to fucking go to the moon. If that's what we want and that's what we're going to do, then that's what we'll push forward for it, right? And I'll donate. I'll donate whatever I can donate. Like, oh, how are you going to get donations from your fucking bakery? Well, I'm going to sell baked goods to people, and then I will give you whatever I can give you to put away and get your carbon fiber for your rocket ship. You know what I mean? Like at some point, like people, I jumped past another thought. My other thought was, sorry, I'm going to go back even farther. When people are doing what they enjoy, there's happiness and passion that isn't replicated in the day-to-day business of people's 9 to 5. Like people go to work and they're fucking miserable. Mm-hmm. That alone is reason to get away from all of this shit, because our lives are fucking maybe 75 fucking years.
That's why it's so confusing to me that people will just perpetuate the same shit year after year. And they're like, this year we're going to vote this guy in and do the same old thing for 4 more years. And I'm miserable. It's like, dude, let's fucking burn it down and try something else, because this is not working.
Yeah. So with that comes like what we've gotten into. And I think we probably started out with something more like what we're talking about. And as society has grown, it's become this thing that it's more and more. And like people forget that we are steering this ship, and we've lost control. Like me as an individual, I don't think we should have to pay the taxes we pay. I don't think that a lot of the government funded shit should be funded. And somewhere along the way, that's what pisses me off, is because a lot of people don't believe in is it DEI or whatever the hell that is, but
diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yeah. So they
all play along.
But well, it's not that they're all playing along. It's that they're all having something. It's the insurance.
Well,
it's what that guy that you're talking about.
It's a bunch of pussy ass white men who work in corporate America, and a bunch of 40-year-old white women who are just a bunch of crazy bitches.
It's insurance. It's all the things that come with it. It's like, hey, you know what? It's easier to just pay them and get by, and like
DEI is insurance.
Yes, it all ends up
a form of
affecting.
credit,
I see what you're saying. So they can't sue you for being racist or whatever.
But they can fucking hold something over your head that makes it to where you're not allowed to do what you want to do. But
there's an easy answer there, which is to say fuck you.
Yeah, but
when someone tries to sue you, say, hey, fuck off. And they may take that to court, and honestly, don't pay it. It's just like paying taxes. Don't pay it.
Yeah,
come fight me.
This
come fuck, like that's
immoral.
Like, we're there.
Well,
we're there.
It's immoral. I mean, yeah, don't take this as legal advice. But I mean, at the same time, it's like I do understand, and that's where I'm at as well. It's like fuck you guys all for like having put everybody in this situation. We do live in a time where we have all of these different available resources to us, and I can do crazy stuff right now that 200 years ago, people would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Even 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 20 years ago. We have resources that are so available, but I also know that I'm paying for resources going to places that I absolutely don't agree with.
No.
Not even fucking slightly.
What is it like? What do they just come up with? $40 to $87 million a week is being paid to the Taliban. We're sending trillions of dollars to Ukraine to fund the beginning of World War III. What the fuck does that do for American taxpayers? Why are we paying for this shit?
Yeah. Well, I mean, because at some point
we are funding the Department of Homeland Security that's going to call us domestic extremists for asking the question, why are we funding this shit?
Because it's going to make somebody in this country extremely rich.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not us, though.
Yeah.
But that's
it's going to be built on our back.
That's carpetbaggers.
And the real,
just what I was saying earlier, the guy rolling those pre-made joints.
But he's taking the time from someone else.
He's also learning for himself.
He's learning, but
you're saying he's sacrificing something.
Yeah, just like anything.
Why the fuck am I sacrificing something for the war?
Because it's like this. I'll say it like this.
Say it like it.
Imagine the gym was its own country.
Easy to say. Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And all of us are
Imagine we called it the Independent Republic of Granite Falls. And I've never thought about that before.
Yeah. But our gym...
It rolls off your tongue.
Our gym is a country.
Just came to me.
Okay.
And our dues are our taxes.
Okay.
And we are happy to pay those dues when we have a cohesive gym, when we feel like we're learning,
a good facility,
we're benefiting. Yep. The facility and the infrastructure is solid, right? And there is an inherent reason to pay money towards a collective getting better. Say if as things progress the way they are, say it keeps getting better, and say those gym dues raise a little bit more. And it's like, well, now we get more things in there. We're getting more instructors that are a higher level. And it's like, well, there's a benefit here. I see the necessity for the infrastructure and how this works.
Now say it goes up again.
I was just going to say,
and
say that's the point.
It's because we're putting blue water in the toilet.
Or I'll go the opposite
Red
direction.
water, dude.
Let's say they stay
It's
the
a red
same,
water state.
but suddenly Greg stops cleaning the sauna and it starts growing mold, or there's an out of order sign on the sauna temperature controller, and you go, hang on a minute, what am I? We went from whatever price to this price because we're adding a sauna and a cold plunge, and it's kind of like this really nice facility.
Which didn't happen, first of all.
I can go. I have a key. I can go lift weights there.
So
if I
that's
want to.
why
But now everything's got out of order signs on it, and there's mold in the sauna or whatever. And you go, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This is not what I agreed to pay for.
So that's why I brought it to the vigilanteism.
But that's the thing is at the place that we're at with that is people have pride in this place, which would be we're
People
calling
still
it
have American pride.
the country of, and they're willing to do something about it. If all of a sudden we looked and we saw, hey, there's something going on with the electrical system, guess what? I know a motherfucker who would go and check it out. I know that, hey, there's mold growing in this. Guess what? I know somebody else who would go take care of it.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're paying for it or that,
Hey, there's a bunch of Chinese
they're
white belts that
stepping
came
up.
across the southern border showing up. What the fuck?
Chinese white belts. Kumite.
yeah. People would step up to do what they believe is right for what our facility in our little country, right?
Yeah.
And that's being lost
Oh, yeah.
in the country that we're currently in.
Yeah.
And it's being lost because we're so fucking divided and there's so many people taking from everybody else because now
It's a
I have
culture
to
of
pay.
taking.
I have to pay for part of my due is because somebody wants to fucking put a pride flag that's been quilted in some special fucking shit out in
Like
the
the public
gravel
school
parking
or
lot.
whatever. Yeah.
And it's like, why the fuck are we doing that? Oh, well, because we wanted to make sure everybody here knew.
inclusive.
It's like, whoa. I'm not included in that. I don't believe in that. I don't subscribe to that. You want me to pay for it? Well, yeah, because you're part of this. It's like, no. I'm part of the fucking Electric North.
Yeah.
Right? Not the fucking pride of all this other shit. The fact of the matter is, the American flag is the fucking inclusive flag.
Yeah, it's the all inclusive. It's the most inclusive.
And that's the thing that we're fucking forgetting.
Yeah.
So when that stuff starts happening more and more and more, to me we should get back on track, have a little bit more we should be able to see what's going on, right? Everything's hidden from us as citizens in the U.S. Everything is hidden from us.
It's becoming less so.
I think so, but I think it's also
there's still a lot hidden, but we're
smoke and mirrors.
It's almost
everywhere.
more like we're aware of that there's shit hidden that we were not aware of 20 years ago. And I think that's what's causing the disruption. Is it's
blatant. It's been hidden and it's written in books, and you understand how it works. But now it is so blatantly
We've talked about
obvious
this before. Information
that
travels
it's-
faster now. It's 1,000,000 points of light or 1,000,000,000 points of light.
just
Was that a George Bush quote?
No. That was
Billion point.
That was Enlightened Neanderthals quote.
the fact that we're
Million points of light.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
No, what was the original Bush?
We cut Jordan off again.
I'm
No, it's
sorry,
fine,
but
it's fine.
for a Bush quote, we have to. Million points of light.
now watch me hit this drive.
Sidewinder rockets. Million points of light.
I don't
Original
recall this one.
Bush.
I don't. HW.
HW.
Was he talking about like shocking
Million,
awe and in Iraq?
yeah,
or-
with Sidewinder missiles, million points
Tomahawk
of light.
cruise missiles?
Yeah, and he said million points of light. I'm sorry, but I will never stop getting excited over an original
Yeah.
Bush quote.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Terrorists.
What were we talking? Fuck, we got way sideways. Sideways.
Sidewise.
Sidewinder missiles.
Terrace got a sideways.
No, I just think that we're getting off track with why we're paying all these taxes.
Yes.
And these taxes are going to shit that we don't believe in
It's
as a
because
whole.
of so many
I can break it
generations
down.
of just paying taxes.
Break it down.
People think that they're
I
like
can break it down.
No. I think people think their way of life will cease if they stop paying taxes, and the reality is it will change radically. But we
I
will
don't
figure
think
it
it
out.
will.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it will.
People will figure out a way to live. And think about like the big corporations here in Washington State. So we have Amazon, Boeing, and Microsoft. who pay fucking nothing because they have all the money and the influence and they can afford the lawyers to get them out of the tax bill. And so people are like, well, we wouldn't have roads if you didn't have taxes, and we wouldn't have schools. And it's like, okay, if you're Amazon, you're the biggest shipping company on planet Earth, isn't it to your benefit to have functioning roads? So wouldn't you be willing to kick in a large amount of the bill to build and maintain those roads? And the citizens can kick in a little bit. Like, we would want to pay for our HOA roads because I want a road that comes to my house so that I can get in and out of my driveway and out to the main roads. If you're Boeing or if you're Lockheed Martin or Raytheon, don't you need some sort of aircraft control system? Does it need to be the FAA, or would you come up with a way between you and also the airlines, if they want to make money? They need some way to make sure their planes aren't crashing into each other. It's in everybody's best interest to have a functioning system. And I think that, again, it's why I don't buy the notion that we were cavemen for millions of years, is that nobody just sits there and goes, this sucks, let's do nothing. Everybody squats there and goes, hey, let's build a better system.
What's Raytheon and all that stuff do for the society?
They build weapons.
Exactly. So now they are going to be funded by people who believe it is important to have protection.
Yeah.
And those people will be people like me. I believe in that, right? I believe it's important to have a strong military. I believe it's important to have the biggest and best military in the fucking world.
Yeah.
Or
is it? I mean,
I truly do believe it is that.
I could make a utopian argument that is very difficult to achieve that says if you could eradicate all militaries,
nope.
All conflicts would become local.
That's humanity, and you're not going to get rid of humanity.
I get that it's like an idealist point of view.
Because at the end of the day, it's like I am comfortable in my body walking into any fucking place.
I also think that most conflict is over resources. And I think that we live in a world of abundance, that if we weren't being suppressed by various entities all around the world, like literally every human being on earth could live in abundance. You might not be wealthy, but you'd be well fed and you'd have a healthy family.
Well, look at Africa. Africa is the most
resource rich and fucking raped.
In the worst place in the world. So it goes to show you how civilization and people work.
Resource rich.
It's because there's other countries there suppressing them.
And but that's what I mean. You have other people putting your influence in suppressing someone. Yeah. That's been
by
the history.
Using their military. And if you could magically make militaries vanish, suddenly that wouldn't be an option.
No, even if you had militaries, if you stopped assholes from becoming leaders, fine, have a strong military.
Power draws the corrupt.
Yes, that's what you're having. And that's why I say the gym is the best representation of that. Like, we're all happy to pay our dues, but then it's like, it's so confusing, but it's like, not really. Like, say America is Electric North, and say there's a gym down the street that's having problems. And guys. Greg goes, hey, we'll help you out and I'll bail you out, but I'll send some of my students there and I get some of your, I'll affiliate with your gym. And so now I have to pay maybe a little bit more for my gym membership because now he's supporting this other gym, right?
No, you don't. The other gym should be paying more to support themselves,
but they're already failing.
That's the
so we
system.
Come in to help them out. That's what America's been over
resources.
The last.
It's all about resources.
But that's what
what does that gym have to
hang
offer?
On.
And if that gym has nothing to fucking offer, then there's no point, right?
But propped up
because places fail all the time. So when you look at a place like Africa, what is their resources?
Well, hang on.
Minerals, oil, animals.
Okay. Do they have water?
Lithium,
water.
They have water to survive, and they.
The biggest river runs through Africa.
Clean water, good to go.
Nile.
So they're fine. Then what the fuck are they doing?
It's the people.
No,
it's the people. It's the
people.
countries that have fucked them over in the past.
Forever
and then their
and
corruption.
ever and ever.
Yeah, it's been, but that's people.
So
that's
it would
government.
behoove Africa, the Africans, to have a government step in that's, hey, we're here to overthrow your government and give you guys a better democracy.
No, I don't think you should overthrow them. I think you should let them. They would need to go through their own difficult.
Yeah, you need to fucking back all the way.
But they've been going through it since the dawn of time.
Yeah, or at least
for some reason
history.
They don't get representation. So whether it's been like
too many resources,
I guess
maybe.
come up with
10,000
give me
years ago.
Give me a correlation between some sort of a jiu-jitsu gym's facility or
Well, I do want to go back to Mike's example, which is that if we all had to say, let's just say we're paying $100 a month at Electric North, and Greg says, hey, everybody's got to pay $115 because we're taking on this other gym and bailing them out. Everyone in that gym has the opportunity to say, well, I'm not going to pay dues anymore. I'm canceling my membership.
But I'll see you Monday.
Yeah. I'll still be here. I'll wipe the mats down after practice. Yeah. You don't have that option as a citizen of the United States, and you should. Or you should. I'm thinking we should just take and exercise that option with or without.
You have the ability to leave.
Say, I'm fucking done. Well, no, you don't have the ability while you're to stay here in your own home and say, I'm not paying these taxes.
I just wish that there was...
Or I should... Actually, you do. You do. You just need to, like I said, understand the actual consequences and be ready. And I'm kind of there.
I just wish there was...
Not kind of there. I'm fully there where I'm willing to risk it.
Places you could put your taxes and know you're putting your taxes into the thing that you believe in.
Yes, and that's what a levy is.
If there was, here's the deal. I have to pay regardless, and we'll have a flat rate of, say, 10% taxes. I don't pay a taxes when I buy things. I pay a taxes when I make money. Done. Right? And I will pay to the transportation taxes that does roads, this and that. I will pay to the security taxes, which pays for police officers. I will pay for the national security taxes, which pays military. I will pay for the fucking, whatever the doctors, the medical, the fucking, go down the list, right? Fire. I will pay for all these different things. And then at the end of the day, that's what I pay.
Yeah.
If I do not
that's what a levy is. We could go to a levy system where you say, hey, we need to raise X number of dollars for this service or this infrastructure upgrade. Let's say you come out, you say, okay, for 2 years, we're going to raise city parking by 3 cents an hour on the meter. And that 3 cents an hour is going to raise X million dollars to pay for repaving of all the streets in the downtown core. And then you vote on it. And then you pay that tax, or you pay that extra fee for 2 years on the parking meters, or it could be or it could be like a 1% bump on property tax for 2 years to install a new elementary school to serve a new neighborhood that's been built up in the last 5 years. And people vote yes or no. Do you want a new elementary school in your neighborhood for your kids? Most people are going to vote yes. But the point of a levy is that it has a sunset, where in 2 years, when the time is up, the tax ends, and you have to either put it up to a new levy. Or if you have a new, like maybe you want to buy a new fire truck for the fire department. Okay, now we have a 3-year gas tax of 2 cents a gallon or something like that. That's going to go towards the new ladder truck.
Why do they tax gas like that? Why would they do that? Why wouldn't just what's commonly used is fucking money. So why don't we just say, because that's the thing where things get all fucking divided up and all this weird shit that nobody can understand, and they do it with so many different things.
So you just want a straight income tax?
Give me a fucking
like a 10%
and I
flat
get to
tax.
choose, and I get to say, hey, I believe in this. I believe in that. I believe in that. I believe in that. Yeah. And guess what? I don't need to vote with you. I don't need to have a fucking vote because I vote with the dollar.
Hang on, I like where you're going. So let me get into details. So you're saying, okay, now let's, just to make a nice, easy figure, Jordan makes $100,000 a year. We have a 10% flat tax, so $10,000. So now Jordan has an obligation to allocate his $10,000. Mm-hmm. He can put all $10,000 into roads and highways, or he can go $1 to schools, $1 to roads and highways, $1 to the Ballard locks. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I like that idea.
I do understand that there needs to be people following up on that. I understand that there needs to be oversight of a government.
But if they fuck up, then you pull your funding.
Hey, we need to make sure that everybody's paying their 10% because that's what's fair. Yep. And if we're all going to go on this thing and we're all going to pay our 10%, somebody needs to oversee that. And that somebody is the government.
And here's another thing. So if you were doing, like, again, let's say you had your allocations where you had your mandatory 10% tax, but you got to choose how it got allocated. Mm-hmm. Maybe nobody would give any money to, let's say, the ATF.
And guess what? That's because we don't walk in line.
That means that agency goes away.
Yes.
Sorry, bye-bye.
Syria, exactly.
And you allocate your dollars to the things that are important to you. And maybe suddenly The schools have a shitload of fucking money, and we can start paying teachers and get some real high-end personalities instead of these fucking broads we get from Mill Creek in the public school system.
Yeah.
Sorry to all my women in Mill Creek.
Lost a lot of listeners right there.
So at least 2 right there. But yeah, you would pump, and we might say, hey, crime is going crazy in Washington. I want to allocate a lot of my money this year to the county sheriff. Or maybe we get a fucking lefty county sheriff wins the election in 2024, and you say, I'm not giving a goddamn dollar to the Snohomish County sheriffs because Adam Fortney's not in there anymore. And you can control the regulatory state that way. That
ebbs and flows.
That would be a great system.
Yeah. And
imagine if you're a shitty sheriff and suddenly you're like, fuck, I can't afford a staff anymore because everybody just pulled their funding on 2025's allocations.
So now on top of that comes, I want to hire private security. So now I can say, yeah, I put X amount into the city's fucking, I believe in there being a sheriff's, so I pay whatever percentage into the sheriff's. But I also know that the sheriff is spread fucking thin, and I'm willing to pay a private security team to fucking oversee my house. Yeah. Whereas I have a contract with them. When I call, I don't call the fucking 911. I call this number, Steve. And this number fucking shows up.
Yeah.
And that's the
wolf.
Same. Like, I mean, the wolf.
It's going to take 33 minutes to get there.
He'll be here
in
18. Yeah. And so that's but there is something to that where it's like, hey, I think everybody should have medical, but I'm also willing to pay for good medical.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Right? So
instead of we're charged out the ass for our medical insurance, and the coverage we get is shit.
I think there's something to that. I think there's something to having like a baseline that everybody has an ability to pay into if they want. But if you want more,
why shouldn't a clinic be like any other run business where it's a competition? If you want customers and if you want to stay in business, you have to provide good medical services.
Yeah, and
if you don't, nature will work itself out and you'll go out of business.
Yeah, and that's that. And guess what? Oh, it didn't work out. And then you go, hey, you know what? I'm going to start this whole thing where I just maintain fences. I just maintain yards. I want people to live in an area that looks good. Well, so I'm gonna fucking have this thing, and I'll put it up, and somehow you can go to the town meetings or whatever and say, hey, I don't want to have a business. I think it's good for everybody to have a clean area to live.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say, you start that little fucking section of I'm going to put my name in the hat of taxes. And if you want to donate, or because that's what it would end up being, all this stuff would be donation because you get to choose, not you have to put X amount in there, but it's not you have to put it in everything. You get to choose what you put your money into. So then it becomes kind of this donation kind of a thing, which people get behind more, right? So
it's not donation. That's called the free market. That's why libertarians.
It's like a mandatory donation.
But it's 10%. That's libertarian ideas.
What's wrong with that?
No. I'm just saying what you are. That is the big idea of the libertarian movement, is to get rid of huge amounts of bureaucracy and take more of a capitalist mind approach, whereas freedom of market dictates what is the driving factor or like where things go because the market is choosing. If you only allocate a certain amount of money towards police, but you're like, there needs to be better protection, well, the free market, people that have lots of money in that area can be like, well, I will donate this much amount of money towards a privatized security but what that is free market. What you're allowing is the citizen to dictate what they deem important, just the same way that the marketplace of buying things is driven off of consumer wants.
You know what? Hold on. Let me. Well, I just had a thought. No.
I'm sorry, just the way you did that, though. I thought your
he's
brain
looking frustrated.
Yeah,
I just had a thought, like, because of all of that, like, we're dealing with this.
How do you get your hair like that?
This money, it's just like Trump. I'm
jealous.
Does
nearly assassinated.
It's like Tony taught us last week. Just let it do.
Yeah,
his ears pierced. If you didn't know,
what if the money, that 10%, was in a different form of currency? What if the government worked in a different form of currency
oysters?
than we did? whatever the fuck you wanted to, right? But if it was something to where it was known that I don't use that fucking money to buy milk. I can't use that money to buy milk.
That's 10%.
The milk can't fucking be bought with that currency. That
You need
currency.
commonality.
What's that?
You need commonality.
Yeah,
No.
Because for things to happen
then
efficiently,
then I know
you're running
that
into
people-
problems.
Then I know that people are not. The money that is that 10% is only 10% of your money is given to this fucking thing that it's useless to you. If you don't believe in any of it, fucking toss it in the goddamn dump. It doesn't matter. You can't use it any other way.
Oh, you're
It's
saying
only
you're saying
it's a ticket. It's a thing that is like represents your fucking 10% that you can't use.
Like
so,
a
so
government
regardless, and at that point, then there's no oversight for other people to know. It's like
I don't know what that would do to
Hold on,
the
hold on,
financial
let me get
system
there.
if you
Let me
could
fucking
trash
get there.
10% of your product.
let me get there because the government is what's using it, and I don't want the government to have any way to spend my money.
Normal money.
you're
You
saying-
want to
because-
give them monopoly.
I want to give them.
You're back on my board,
I
baby.
wanna give them
We're not
funny
paying
money.
taxes.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
give them. I want to give them funny money so they can use that with any whatever allocations they have to use it for. But it's not going to be in the same
Open market as
the-
consumers.
The pharmacy isn't going to be able to throw them a bunch of this fucking funny money because they only get 10% of it.
That's government money. Yeah.
So they only have 10% in which to use, regardless.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
But you can
They're not going to be able
You're
to.
saying you can cut them less.
What I'm saying is that other companies and all these people who buy the government aren't going to have the money to outweigh us.
Yes. Yeah.
Where they do currently, they have the same dollar that does
Yes.
the same thing for the
Well,
government as it does for me, as opposed to going, no, you guys only have 10%.
I
of
think
your
if it's a
fucking-
10% flat tax, and if you get rid of regulatory fees like building permits or a building, like honestly, if you're a taxpayer, you shouldn't have to pay for a building permit. You should, if you do, you shouldn't even have to apply for it. But let's say you do have to get it. It should cost you nothing because you're already funding the fucking government. So why do you have to pay them a fee to process your building permit for your land where they tell you, no, you can't build a fucking tractor shed on your backyard?
Hey, buddy, you're talking to three like-minded people.
All right. Let's take
hang on, wait.
Hang on. We are at, okay, go ahead, Mike.
I'm going to lose this thought if I don't say
Put it out there.
Let her
We're
out.
taking a pee break.
You know how, okay, so just like the marketplace has an open market for consumers and stuff, what if there was two different marketplaces? Like there was a stock market for the government and only governments could exchange with only
what I'm
other
saying.
governments
Yeah.
and then there was the people's stock market. So you had two different forms of
The
stock.
government should
You
not be
have
involved in
government-
any kind of speculation.
He-
Period.
infrastructure
Period.
though.
Period.
If government started only talking about infrastructure
if you want
with
to be,
other
if you want to be
governments,
speculating and investing, don't be in government in public service.
Yeah,
Just
you
don't
shouldn't
do
be.
it.
You shouldn't because all that
It's
is
service.
gambling.
It's public service.
Right. Like, you
So
shouldn't
if
be
wanna-
gambling
You can't
with
gamble
that
with public
10%.
dollars.
But
You have to gamble
Daddy
with your own
wants a
dollars,
ride, though.
and you can't have insider information.
Well, Daddy gets to ride with his whatever the 90,000 he gets left with, right? Like
Yeah.
that's it. But I think that there's something to being able to say like the government has this money that they can only use, and within that is what their
That's their
operating fees
restriction.
has to
This is
be.
what you have.
Yeah.
And you
But
have
at the
nothing
same
more.
point, like
But how do you pay a private contractor with government dollars? Government
and
cheese.
that's where things get a little iffy, right? And that's where like I haven't worked out this thing that I just thought. So anyway,
I like
we'll,
this, dude.
we'll
This
figure
is
it out after the break.
Yeah. Here we go.
All right,
Leaning in.
Role
All right,
models.
lean
Role
in.
models.
Role model.
Could you imagine though showing up hammered drunk?
This,
could
this sounds like a challenge.
I don't.
I don't think you show up hammered, but I don't see anything.
Not show up, but
Here's the thing
Work
I'll
your
say
way
towards
into
this.
it. On
I don't.
Friday?
When I
On a
mean,
Friday, I think that's
On a Friday roll?
totally fine. But the thing is those are hard rolls. It's
No.
more like a drilling thing. You want to bring a six pack
no.
on the mats?
I don't want
think
to. I
it's
don't want to
drilling.
learn
No?
with alcohol. I want to. I want to compete with it.
Okay.
That's my
like a warrior sent into the field, like on a barrage of
He's going
Jaeger.
in drunk and angry.
yeah,
not angry. That's the thing. Is like
Drunk
you
and
get
happy.
happy.
Yeah,
You
but
go in there. You're like, hey,
alcohol
guys,
makes
Didn't,
you
hang on,
not
didn't
care.
Jackie Chan do a movie about this?
Drunken Master, great
Okay.
movie.
And how'd he do?
Shit. Did he win?
Pretty good of it.
Yeah, he fucked everybody
I think they
up.
made a second one, so
All
he
right.
did all right.
Are we introducing the six pack roll to Electric North, and Greg's gonna fucking kill us?
Well, as long as it's not the sauna fucking pour.
He didn't mind that.
Really?
I
think
minded it. I minded it.
You minded it?
Yeah, the Red Sparrow fucked up.
Smelled like bread.
It
Smelled like communism.
Yeah.
Smelled horrible, dude.
Well, you know what? You know who minded it was fucking Daniel.
Yes.
And Daniel was like being as nice as possible with
Yeah.
I'm not trying to blow up on
Yeah.
you guys because I'll kill you all.
I'm about to.
But I don't think Greg would have cared.
I think he did.
Oh.
I
still don't. Yeah.
Either way, don't pour
Hang
beer
on.
on the rocks.
I know all the idiot hijinks that have gone on that property over the last
Certainly.
25 years. I don't think that was that egregious.
No, absolutely not. It wasn't egregious at all. But it's just one of those things where it's like, maybe not. But I don't know that there's a problem like taking a 6-pack, maybe hiding it in the corner and pulling one or two here and there. That's no.
Do it every fucking practice.
Timestamp. Let's not label people, but we're just saying drunk jitsu off of
2
maybe
minutes in.
stone jujitsu. Jesus Christ, guys, pull it together.
Well, hang on. So
I
it's
think-
completely
no,
accepted
it's-
that a bunch of people smoke pot before practice.
Weed is different though. I think
For
weed.
some people,
No, because weed doesn't
Some people
blur.
have a fucking
panic attack.
You can smoke so much weed and it never blurs your vision. Alcohol blurs vision.
also
it
sounds
throws
like a
out.
challenge.
Yeah, well, it does.
What are you doing tonight?
But not tonight. But
Why? Because your vision's going to get blurred?
yeah, no, I think alcohol changes it, and the way alcohol works in your system, it makes you not care about the consequences. It doesn't make you think that you're a god or anything. It just makes you not think that there's any repercussion to the things you do. I think that presents a more hostile round where you're able to get hurt when someone wants to just go for a tap. I think weed puts you more in the moment, but it does not, maybe it amplifies your cognition of what's about to happen, but I think that they're two different mechanisms.
So mushrooms is the real enhancement.
Shit.
I've
All right,
never rolled
episode 100. We should get high as fuck on mushrooms.
Mike
And
puked in the corner
just
for
see what
3
happens.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to roll. Remember, I was like, I wonder if I can roll like this.
Yeah.
Dude, the best I've ever rolled. The best I've ever rolled.
Yeah. I've heard of this a lot.
But at the fire on New Year's,
Oh.
and they're like, no
Well, you're
jujitsu,
also
no
hammered.
jujitsu.
Yeah. That's alcohol again.
No,
That's
there was no
that-
alcohol.
On 4th of July here?
No, New Year's.
No, New Year's at
New-
that fire.
New Year's. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
remember? And they were like, no jujitsu. And I was like, I wonder if you could roll like this. This feels pretty. I feel pretty good. And I was
Yes.
moving around. I was like,
You know,
Yes,
some of the
yes.
most high
Jordan,
level.
Jordan, literally, I've done it 3 or 4 times, and it's always me at my best.
Some of the most high level kickboxers do their fights microdose, and they do mushrooms, but they'll fight on mushrooms.
Yes.
A lot of high level.
was it like
a lot of
Chuck's
ancient
take-
cultures as well would go into battle. high
They'll
on
take,
mushrooms.
berserkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chuck Liddell's doing
What
Was it? Was it?
The
Doc,
ice
was
one?
it?
Yeah.
snorting cocaine.
Was it Doc Gooden who pitched a perfect game on LSD?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
LSD or
Brought him into the
didn't
zone.
someone do a bunch of coke? Maybe it was
Also
LSD.
Doc Gooden.
Yeah. Yeah. Bill Burr has that joke about that. He's like, could you imagine you're throwing a fastball and you see every stitch coming off of it? Like, yeah, just see
That's
it.
probably what he's talking about. Is that game?
But that's what I mean. Like, I get hammered. Like, a beer softball league's fun, but the more beer you drink, the shittier you do.
Yeah.
Like doing acid and playing softball
Yeah,
or smoking
I was
weed.
gonna say beer
even
is not
doing
a
cocaine.
performance enhancement because
yeah,
it's
to a
alcohol.
point.
Well, hang on. Alcohol
point.
binds with, I believe, oxygen receptors in your blood, and the feeling of being buzzed or drunk is actually a lack of oxygen to your cells. So it stands to reason that it's going to be, yeah, not good for athletic performance.
Yeah, that's why they pull over more.
Yeah, exactly.
Just get some-
You're going to be out of breath if you've been drinking because
Dude.
you get less oxygen.
I don't breathe anyway.
I
I'm
hold
aquatic.
my breath.
I'm
for 6
aquatic.
minutes.
6 minute round.
I got to hyperventilate first.
Ready? It's like driving through a tunnel. No,
That's why it's weird.
I think
too,
to a
when
point, though.
you see alcohol being the most common used drug for fights. Like bar fights are the most common fight. It's not like people are like, let's go into an opium den and get into a fight.
Yeah.
They're like, let's go to a bar and fight. And the people that want to fight the most are the most, one, intoxicated, inebriated in their senses, not only physically, but like their mental awareness.
Well, it shuts down your sense of reason.
Yeah. You just don't care about
Which
consequence.
marijuana doesn't seem to do, and mushrooms definitely
you care
does not do.
way more about consequence.
Yeah, and honestly, I've rolled very well after smoking weed.
Yeah. Welcome to the club.
Yeah, I know. It's almost
Me too.
like it's all because the thing about jiu-jitsu, we got way off topic. Here we are on jiu-jitsu and drugs.
Jiu-jitsu's fine. Talk about it.
The thing about jiu-jitsu that I've really learned recently is just to sort of go with like whatever. If somebody's pushing into you, just fall away from it.
Yeah.
And if you are
Inebriated,
gacked out on adrenaline and aggression, you're going to push back against that. But sometimes like marijuana relaxes your brain, which causes you to relax your muscles. And you just kind of go, oh, I'll just fall away from this and I'll fall into that. And you just sort of roll and go with it. And you end up not, like, again, being an old guy and a 6-minute round, it's like my goal is to control my heart rate first and foremost. I don't want to get to where I'm gasping for breath.
Yeah.
And I can do that by controlling the fight.
Well, I think.
And so I've really put an emphasis on learning control positions and maintaining control. So this, and it's purely out of laziness.
Well, I think of it as like a combat like stance. Like if someone's coming at you super hard and you're getting overrun, what are you going to be like? Let's run all my resources directly at this unit,
Gas out in 2 minutes,
or let's put a couple resources out front for fire and let's send someone to move around and flank. And that's what that calmness in that situation is. Yeah. That's when you start to know it. You're turning from a blue belt to a purple belt to a higher belt, is you know the basic moves. Now you're being put in a stress situation with those moves. When you learn how to react and stuff with those moves happening, and you can figure out not only what the threat is directly, but I think where options are.
Yeah.
That's why you go to
the option
like
trees are the other
inverting, right? And you go to weird stuff like that. That's when it starts to get fun.
Yeah. No, having the option trees starting to cement into muscle or like neural pathway. Yeah. So you get to the back and you're like, oh, I have 2 chokes and an arm bar available right now.
Yeah.
And it's still hard. Like it's simple to say, hard to execute, but just recognizing that is a good step forward.
Yeah. But I think it compares to anything like I said, combat, because that's the closest I can see it is just you're having pressure put from one singular area in front of you. And you're
so imagine
to
2
deal
small
with
teams.
Pressure and figure out a way to mitigate it and kind of go around the side.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, fall back, flank right, flank left.
Yeah.
Try to find the soft spot.
But you're only can do that once you're inoculated a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Once you've dealt with enough.
You have to go through that hold on and squeeze hard phase.
Yeah.
You can, you know what I mean? Like it's a
grit the teeth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It just has to be. And for some people it goes very quickly, and for most of us it goes very slowly.
Yeah. Do you think that you can go too far that way though?
Too
relaxed.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jordan, you're too nice.
Too relaxed. Yeah.
Too nice.
But
you understand that you could go in there and fuck some people up, and so you back off too much. Be assertive.
Yeah. Yeah.
But know who you're going against. I guess there's a lot of young, hungry motherfuckers in there who.
Yeah,
you go ahead
Zach.
and
there he is. There he is.
Hey Zach, what's going on, man?
Speaking
who
of the devil.
you could go in there and put some effort into.
Yeah, but throughout my entire life, when you look at like a kung fu movie and they're like, this is the karate master, and this guy does nothing. Like you go to grab him and he grabs your pinky and he twists it. In my opinion, that's what the true master is. Yeah. And so if I can get to a point when I learn how my game works most efficiently through movement and through kind of baiting people in, it's like, yes, perceive it as being soft, but what I'm doing is I'm laying a bunch of webs. For you to
Mike's a
crawl-
master of setups.
He's a spider.
But that's what it's not being lazy.
Something
That's
just
what
touched my
it
butthole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
spider bark. That's what that
the old spider guard.
But it's not being lazy. There's something cool about if you can fuck someone up with minimal effort, you're the coolest motherfucker in the entire room. That's what you want. That's a real life McDojo.
But
that's what I
there's
made it
yeah,
for.
no shit. There's two very distinct like go levels in the gym right now, and it's kind of funny. There's older guys like us who are trying to roll lazy, and then there's the young cats. Like, have you guys rolled with Harley recently?
Yeah, dude,
I
it's
can't-
just full of piss
It's
and vinegar.
it's just fucking.
He's doing good.
He's got a
He's
great.
good.
Yeah,
He
he's
just won
great.
that tournament
He's fucking great. And I
weekend.
love. And here's the thing: is actually from the young cats. I want that. I
has
want
that
the
fuck you
20-year-olds.
energy.
Yeah, I want them to
Yes.
have a little fuck you in them. I want to
Yes.
have a little like, let's go get it. And it is fucking exhausting to roll with him because he just comes at you at level 11 for 6 minutes and 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy shit. Like you just kind of go into it hoping to survive. And he's a white belt. He's pretty new. And I have a feeling that if he gets into competition, that kid's going to go places.
Well, he just
He competed and he
won.
Did he?
this
got
weekend.
second.
Did he?
Or
Oh,
something.
he won.
As a white or blue
Oh,
belt?
he competed again this weekend?
Yeah, and he won.
Did he compete as white or blue?
White.
White.
Okay.
He's a white.
Yeah, fuck.
It's a
dude.
white.
He's
That's
fucking
a white boy.
Yeah.
Celebrate our whites during competition. Yeah.
Yeah, he's tough. I think he wrestled for like 6 years or something.
Oh,
like
did
that,
he?
I think yeah.
Okay. Is he
Yeah,
out of high
but
school?
his game, it's crazy to see wrestling. Like, it's good foundation, but learning like the trickiness of jujitsu is like salsa dancing, whereas wrestling is more of a straight. Oh, look at
I
George!
disagree.
Look at this guy.
I disagree. 100%.
It's way more. I mean,
the highest level guys are like that effortless shit that you're talking
no,
about.
there's
But
a
you
lot
find
more
explosive-
S's in jujitsu, where I feel there's a lot more Z's in wrestling. And what I mean by that is like jujitsu is about weaving to get into choke positions. So there's a lot more S'ing. Wrestling
Smoothing
is
out the
about
corners,
cutting
explosion
angle
and-
Z's. Like 90, 45, 90,
I understand
45.
what you're saying.
You're still a dumbass, but I
I
understand what
think
you're
I
saying.
think
Jordan's
that
about to attack you across the table.
the pressures are different.
Yes.
Because there is a position in wrestling where you cannot be. That creates a fight.
Yeah.
Where in jiu-jitsu there is no position you can't go into.
Yes.
Right? Like as like I can lay down on my back, I can lay on my stomach, I can be on my head, you can be anywhere. In wrestling, you cannot be on your back. And that one fucking aspect of changing the rule set and like positioning wise, that changes so many different pressures just to go, you can't go to your back.
That is a
Dictates
huge. That's a
movement.
huge
Yeah.
thing to not be able to go to your back.
Yeah, that changes
Dictates movement.
That dictates movement. It dictates pressure. It dictates the ability to put people in something where they will put pressure back into you, like so you can actually like create pressure is gone. So because of that one rule alone makes it a completely different in a lot of regards, right? And then they add other things like you can't step out of bounds. If you step out of bounds, you're being passive or you get a point scored on you or whatever. For wrestling and jiu-jitsu, fucking people are walking out of bounds and moving all over the place and it doesn't matter. So yes, there is in that. You mean S as in soft? Yes. No, I think that there's that pressure allows for a lot of different things. Whereas if in wrestling they said like if you got rid of a pin, right, and still like said okay you can go to your back, but it's not like I don't know what I'm trying to say here. It's not the same, and it creates an urgency that never has been created in jiu-jitsu. And that's where people are like, oh, it's way harder, or like the people are being athletic and they're being sharp and they're being this and that. And it's like, No, it's still.
But that's what I
grappling.
mean. Like to
It's
submit
still-
someone, there's no urgency. You're trying to pull them so far in to wrap things around. Whereas wrestling, you're not submitting. You're putting someone on their back.
But you are.
So you don't
are
get
putting
you
people
get
in.
deep, but you don't get as deep. Like there's no 50-50 in wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, there's semi, but how often do you find that position? Whereas in MMA or jiu-jitsu, you find that position way more.
I
where
think you
have
need to
deep
watch some high level
Sambo?
college and Olympic level wrestling, and you're going to find a lot more S's than you think. I think there's a lot more.
I'm going to say
technique.
just the way Jordan moves when you roll with him is very. It's not angles, it's curves.
Yeah, it's
but
it's all about
not saying there's no curve.
there's explosiveness that you don't get in jiu-jitsu, right? Because
Absolutely,
and that
yes,
but
100%.
but that I think is
But the game of wrestling is
to-
way more dynamic than like I said, choking or submitting someone is pulling them so deep.
but people
Whereas
fucking,
putting someone on their back isn't as deep.
there's submissions
to
in
know
wrestling
positions.
that like would legitimately work.
Well,
in
that's catch
jiu-jitsu.
wrestling.
And
Yes.
in regular high school wrestling, there's fucking things that will fucking hurt you. And the only thing that makes you turn is because but the pressure is because you're trying not to turn.
Yeah.
So you can put people in submissions that are like, this will fuck you up. Make no mistake. That'll snap a neck, but you're fighting against it. And then like, so the submission is,
well,
I
there's
guess,
inherently neck cranks and stuff like
yeah,
that.
and like
in
leg
wrestling.
laces that are
Yes.
fucking put knee bars, or not knee bars, but like
What is the one
calf
Boston
slicers. Dude, there's so many different fucking
where you
things.
get? Isn't that it? Boston crab though, where you get a guy
They end
on
up-
his belly and
that,
you sit on their butt and you grab both legs.
yeah.
Yeah.
And some
The Boston crab. I mean,
some dude hit that.
yeah, that's what I mean. That thing will kill. That'll paralyze.
Yeah. There's legitimate like submissions that I think they get called potentially dangerous
Yeah. Well, yes, because they are.
because it's gonna snap a fucking shoulder blade. You know, it's gonna fuck somebody up, and they stop it. But nevertheless, it's like, okay, you can go to here, and you have to put pressure across the back. You can't keep going up the back with like an arm bar. Or certain moves like that. So they stop you from the point of like, you're going to fuck somebody up if you do this. So
That's what I mean. That's where
all the fucking time in wrestling.
But
where
because there are limitations
wrestling.
due to what you can do, that
you just
also
don't finish the submission.
But that also dictates movement. That's where I feel jiu-jitsu gives you more S's, because to sink in a submission and to go deep, you have to go more S. Like you have to slither in way more in jiu-jitsu. It's a different body structure and movement. Like I said, to go in that deep, it's not the same as pinning someone on their back. There's always going to be more rigidity than to getting behind someone and getting hooks and like adapting to how they're bending and taking a side. It's always going to be a little different. I think it's a deeper... It just changes your movement pattern. It has to.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying to a certain degree, but like that's just all created off of, and that's another like aspect to really think about is like the movements based on not getting put to your back.
Yeah.
Is that's where the pressures change. Where in jiu-jitsu, you run a half on somebody and they roll to their back. It's no big deal.
That's a go-to. Yes.
But that also puts you into a north-south. Like you run a half on somebody, they roll to their back. Now you're in a north-south.
Yeah.
Which puts you in another fucking situation. But that's also like when you put somebody on their back in wrestling, they don't just go with it, but then it also they start to fight in a different way from their back. And it's learning it in wrestling is a lot more like explosive and finite, and like it doesn't happen as much, right? So
jiu-jitsu feels like you're teaching someone, those two people in that same situation, how to scramble better. Like you're scrambling to get your footing, to get a hold, and to start fucking up someone else.
I don't think so, because you accept the position. So I think you have a better...
Yeah, but that's what I mean. You're scrambling to accept whatever position you can get in a
No,
more
because that doesn't create
advantageous.
a scramble, right?
The scramble is a imbalance of both people.
I think I think wrestling creates more scrambles because you can't accept every position you go to. So you will fight in a certain way to fight out of that, as opposed to accepting wherever you go is okay and we can fight from here. You want to get certain hooks or handholds or whatever grips to get to the position you want to go to, or an advantageous move from said position. Whereas in the wrestling world, like, you were fucking scrambling to not be put in that situation at all.
But that gives more of a credence towards a wrestling mindset to be with the jiu-jitsu person, be like, if I don't like this situation, I can keep scrambling.
Yeah, but
that is the beautiful part about wrestling is you know how to scramble like a motherfucker, I feel.
Yeah.
And that, to me, dictates where in the middle of chaos, I can pick whatever area and be like, oh, I'll go north-south. I'll find a way to go side control. I'll find a way, you know.
Mm-hmm. And I think that the transition from wrestlers to going to jiu-jitsu, like, and allowing that that place to come into your, you know, is important to be able to allow for work from the back, right? Where I think allowing somebody to take you down is a fucking joke. But pulling guard is also a joke.
Yeah.
But I think setting up sweeps and pulling somebody into an instant sweep, or like,
it's classy.
It's that's the move, right? Because that's still.
But that's judo. That's a whole nother thing. I mean, you have hip tossing and wrestling is more single and double. Let's be honest. That's why judo exists.
Snap down, go behind. Number one fucking takedown in all college wrestling.
Yeah, snap.
Right?
Down.
Like it's.
But then you get into that with a gi, and now you
snap somebody down
sambo.
and they roll onto their back.
Yeah, but
now you're fucking standing in front of somebody that's now turtled up on their back.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what's this? Now I have to engage somebody through their legs to get to side control, because you snap them down and instantly turtle up, go to their back, and that's that. And I think, that's never accepted, right? Instantly back up to your feet. Like, you don't go to you impose your position on somebody else, I think, a little bit more in wrestling.
See, but that goes to where it doesn't allow credence to be on your back and figure out deeper positions. That's why I said earlier, you don't see a lot of 50-50 because
what
the
do you
goal
mean
is
50-50?
Like we're scissoring.
Yeah, you don't in wrestling.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah, you don't see 50-50.
Did you see that a lot in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
I think they're the new style of wrestling is a lot more scrambly. And a lot more scrambly. And, like, don't get me wrong, I've fallen so in love with jiu-jitsu over the last few years, especially here, right? I started in 2011, and now I'm fucking, like, Electric North is what cemented jiu-jitsu for me.
Topeka, Kansas, I really started to get an appreciation for.
Topeka, Kansas.
I don't know if that's a place, but just putting it out there.
But the fucking
sorry, that was a little bit of a grappling tangent.
The government is really fucking up.
that was a 25-minute jiu-jitsu sidebar.
Upper belt style. But you know what though? I love the theory of fighting. Like,
that's why that show was so cool. Remember that show that was like showing how people generate power from like
fight theory,
certain kicks.
Are you talking about Top Gun?
Well, it might as well be.
Yeah. What was that show that had Mansers? I feel like that was that same one that showed you how to kill people. Like,
are you talking about
barbarians versus like Chinese
Vikings or whatever?
Yeah.
Mongols versus Vikings.
Yeah, and it would be these crazy things on.
They'll the same rape their weapons and their shields.
Yeah,
shut the fuck up. Yeah.
But they did the same thing with like actual fighting styles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was like they would show like, what are those guys who like dance fight? The guys.
Homos?
Campo?
No,
is it
Brazil?
Capoeira.
Capoeira.
So it was like showing how the kind of pressure, and then they'd have like a dummy, and they'd be like, okay, we have 5 different black belts, and they're like, we're timing how long it takes them to kick, and then we have this pressure sensor set up in this fucking dummy, and we are judging their pressure of how they're kicking, like the the power generated for each kick. And I remember just being like, this is the coolest fucking show. And then they had a guy doing karate, they had a guy doing Muay Thai, kickboxing, capoeira, and Taekwondo. And they would judge. And the Taekwondo guy, I think kicked the fastest and the fucking hardest. And it was just like, oh shit. Like Taekwondo is like legit.
Yeah, but ask that guy to punch that thing, and he
had no clue. Yeah, he slaps it. Yeah,
that's how it works. So,
but
no, that So I think the guy Sam Sheridan that did the Disaster Diaries did a show called Fight Science, and he went with all kinds of different people throughout the world, and he would train with them. And so, like, he went to. He did capoeira down in South America. He went to the Philippines and did stick fighting, and he went to the Shaolin monks of China, or Mongolia, Tibet,
Nepal,
like
where they look like that
weird
up
area up in the mountains. And it broke him because the amount of stretching and stuff they do to be constantly doing the splits. He tried doing like a bunch of stretching and went on a run for warm-ups, and like the fascia on like his shin, like his shin bone off. And muscle was like lumping up, and it was crazy to see. But I mean, fight cultures have existed throughout history, but it is interesting to see what certain people will like really shine towards. Like, I mean, to me, like I said, I find fighting interesting, and like talking about that theory, I think the same thing about angles. Like I say, S is more jiu-jitsu and Z is wrestling. I think angles matter so much in stand-up. The matters of 45s and 15-degree angles and 90s for boxing compared to kickboxing compared to wrestling, I think is where everything lies. And it's fun to kind of go deep into what, I don't know, some people think is what makes something superior, or why it might cancel another thing out, or how together the two complement each other.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting, like openings and footwork that changes a lot of.
Yeah, you guys were talking about that Tony Cowden seminar you did. And much of what you're saying was like, it was just footwork.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're just teaching you those little windows that make you a little better.
Yeah, he was very focused on making up like tenths of a second.
Yeah.
And so it was like a little bit like drilling an athletic event where he calls it a beginner course. It didn't feel like a beginner course. It was, but there were beginners in the course.
Yeah. I think were less of beginners than they had let on.
Well, hang on. There was that one guy who's like, I'm new to this. Like, no, you're fucking not.
Yeah. I've done this, and then like his group was tiny. Like, fuck you. You lying.
Sandbagger.
Yeah.
There was like a 16-year-old kid. So he was legit.
Yeah, he was pretty new. Did well.
It was a lot of real quick. Let's show you how to find your sight picture and the wall on your trigger. And then we're going to start moving our feet. And all it was find the sight picture and the wall of the trigger as your feet are becoming settled. So that the moment you become stable, you break the shot. Okay. Which is very easy in concept, but hard to put into practice.
Yeah.
I think he changes the course based on what he's seeing how people are performing in the course as well. Because he was saying he's like, none of these are ever the same. I think he shoots from the hip a little bit. He's got a general idea of what he wants to do.
I do the same thing. I have a general outline, but I
observe
watch
the class.
You have to elevate to what the people are doing.
Kind of either push or retract based on skill level.
And I think that the level there happened to be a little higher, so it wasn't necessarily an entry level class because of that.
Okay,
I would
that makes sense
because I think it was
there were a lot of good shooters in the class.
Yes, and I think that's where it ended up taking that route, right? But he also taught from a position of sports shooting versus
tactical
shooting, right? So there was when the buzzer goes off, you're fucking running this drill and you're doing these things, so you're cheating and you're leaning to the right super heavy and putting all the pressure on your right leg. So when you go to draw, you lift up your foot and you're already moving as you're drawing and moving. Like, so there were things like that.
Well, hang on. Here's the thing, though, is that people criticize the competition shooting for that reason, where you war game the scenarios. But if you war game enough scenarios over time, and if you're actually doing this for real, which most people aren't anyway, so shut the fuck up, is that at some point you're going to find yourself in a position where you're moving to your right and you need to take a shot, and you'll be like, oh,
I've done this.
We did this in a competition 6 years ago or 2 years ago or whatever. So
or every fucking time
I have some data in my nervous, neural pathways that knows how to do this. Yeah. And you execute that. And you go, okay, so really that competition was just training for this very specific movement.
Yeah.
And to reach an expert level, like a black belt, what do you have to train for? Very specific scenarios.
And repetition. And that's what I really liked about it, was because it gave this sports-based movement or sports-based mindset of what we're doing. But it at the end of the day, if that target was a human, you'd be hitting a human, right? Like, you're still pulling a trigger on a gun and moving. Yeah. Like,
so it's at the end of the day, are we going to Montana in September?
I want to. I want to.
I know Mike has family obligations.
I have family. I have anniversary. I have hunting.
You got married during.
Y'all will understand.
I have wife birthday. I have.
Hold on. You all that during September?
Yeah.
So
what's their birthday?
You guys, the point of this podcast.
24th.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
hang on.
That's
is that
later.
The weekend that we got invited over?
No, I think it's the 7th. It's early. It's early September. It's archery season.
7th, 8th.
Yeah.
Okay. That's archery, deer, elk.
Elk. But then we also have high mountain going if we want to do dirt bikes.
There's so much.
We need to do the dirt bikes.
There's so much.
We need to do that Fish Lake ride.
Yes, there's so much. There's so much, you guys.
To learn how to use.
It's coming so quick.
This is one of those sacrifice this weekend, because the knowledge we're going to gain will serve us on all these little adventures for the next 20 years.
I can't get a fire truck up there. I'm pretty disappointed.
I gotta bring you guys to my fucking spot.
How great would it be?
We have to hunt elk in my
close.
spot.
That it's elk. Oh yeah, elk.
We have to hunt.
That's
elk in my spot.
what. That's all my.
How long's the season? When does it close?
2 weeks. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's a week.
10 days.
I think it ends up being
10 days.
I think it ends up being.
And it's literally.
Well, we're doing a different season than.
Yeah.
So
literally that weekend.
I'll have to look.
Okay.
I'll have to look and find out, because I still have to change my tags because I accidentally fucked up.
We gotta look at them.
But either way, like there's.
Well, I got a lot to fit. Even if we did it during archery,
it's the
I don't
busiest.
care.
Did we even say what we're talking about? We're talking about going to White Sulphur Springs to go to Tony's long range rifle class.
Yeah,
which
golly,
I really
like
think
a good time.
And he invited us.
Then I gotta
buy
a fucking rifle.
No, you don't.
You got a rifle.
No, you don't.
Shut up.
No, you don't.
I just need a scope.
Yes, I do.
You got a rifle. You just
Yes, I
need a
do.
better scope.
I have a demo scope you can put on it. So you're already good on equipment. We just need ammo and gas.
Yeah.
And food.
Done.
Because
Would he be mad if I brought my shitty scope? I have the nicest spotting scope and the shittiest rifle.
I know. What's funny is he was teaching this class, and he's like, most of us don't have like $2,000 razors on our rifles anyway. And Jordan and I looked at each other. We're like, yeah. Unless you're Mike Kozak and you have a Bushmaster with a $2,000 optic on it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Does this one work, guys?
Yeah. Is this a good one? Club? Is this a good one?
Can I be in the club? Look at this. What's up, boys?
Oh man. So I think I'm going to that class, hell or high water.
I would say good. If I
Without
just got
question,
too
you
much.
You got to go,
because the knowledge it trades off for the rest of our hunts to go learn to put rounds out to 800-900 yards with a 308.
Yeah.
For the next 20 years of hunting in the Eastern Cascades, where you have those long, sort of across the valley shots.
I would like to be more confident.
How am I going to do that with a bow?
You just aim up.
I will say he said one of the smartest things that I've heard in a long time, which was like, and it was just a little tidbit, right? He was like,
let it do.
Shooting. Well, yeah, let it do. That actually.
That's the number. That's the theme of the rest of the month. Let it do.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, in archery, there's a lot of archery similarities I found, and I think that's because of long range stuff. But trust your float. right? Is what they say in archery, where you can't hold this fucking thing steady. So you just have to trust that it's gonna end up when you go to release, that your body is gonna allow it to do what it's gonna do, and there it is. Just relax, pull through, and the float will get you there. You're never gonna be solid, right on the X. But he goes, yeah, when I'm shooting my archery, I set up 2 targets. I shoot up this one, I go down, I pull my target, and then I turn around and I shoot back to where I was standing before. I was like, that's genius.
That's actually beautiful.
That's genius.
I need another archery target in my house now.
I was literally like, that's so fucking smart. And it was like,
Just simple.
so simple. Yeah. Anyway.
That's a really good archery.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's why I fucking blew my mind. I was like, I'm an idiot all these years. But anywho, yeah, that has to happen. It'll be cool. And there's been so many different little fucking cues in my life of the last 2 or 3 weeks that have been like, quit putting off all of the small things for bullshit excuses, and the money or the time or the whatever. Like you're not gonna have anything but memories when you're 85 years old anyway. So just fucking go have the memories. Go get it. Like
fucking do it.
Yeah. Like small sacrifices. So you feel like you can't, or like it's like find a way.
Yeah.
Find a way.
Yeah.
So
we're going to White Sulphur Springs.
Yeah.
All right.
I got family in town and I'm trying to get baseboards. So good luck, boys.
Find a way.
Yeah.
Baseboards. What like
just
molding?
Replaced all the flooring. So it's like you get baseboards.
Exciting. I'm going to go to a long distance class.
Yeah, dude. Fuck
I'm
that
getting
kitchen,
baseboards. Yeah.
Fuck that kitchen.
So how do we go from revolution to jujitsu to long-range shooting?
Because like I said in the beginning, if we could compare this micro macro, if the micro is our gym, we compare our micro of, say, society is the gym, and the macro in the entire world, right? So if we get these 2 things happening at the same time, what's happening in the world is kind of the same representation as our gym.
It can
we
be,
say
yeah.
The world is crazy, and it's like, yes. So let's imagine what would happen if the gym was crazy. And like I said, it would be if we were starting to support other gyms and it started costing higher fees for the people going there. And you felt like less of what you were paying was being put back into the facility or you as a participant of that gym. So we have seen this. I think it's easy to see what's happening. And like we went on a tangent for so long, but what is that? That's strong leadership in certain areas. We're not the most brilliant guys in the world, Jordan, but there's certain things that maybe...
Hang on, wait here. Why does he look at Jordan?
I said we. I said we. I said
that's we as in like I'm including myself to make you not feel bad.
We're not the most, but we like kind of talking about these bigger ideas. But if you give me wrestling, I have a guy in this crew that can break it down. You give me MMA fighting, I think I can give you a pretty good undersight and maybe give you some preparation and training into it. You give me tactical shooting, I give you another guy that can work into it. I think what you're seeing is a lack of leadership through these communities. The America as itself is just as big and as small as our gym, macro, is as big and as small. So I think what you're just seeing is a failed leadership throughout and letting tyrants overtax your gym and affect your membership happening.
So when I was at Ivan's years and years ago, I don't remember if he even, I'm sure he remembers, but there was like 3 or 4 girls, maybe 4 or 5, that started to have this like, I am woman, hear me roar kind of a attitude and like trying to change the culture of a fucking male dominated gym.
They bought some Subarus.
Bitches.
Dude, it was.
They bought some Subarus while being at your gym. Yeah.
And dude, it was the craziest thing. Like you can't say that. You can't do that. Like it was like they are trying to wokeify the gym. And that was before woke was a fucking word. You know what I mean?
Bet it got shut down.
Oh, that shit got
At
shut
a place
down
like Ivan's.
real fucking quick.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that's how you handle it. That's how you handle it with fucking proper leadership. You don't go, no. We've been here. We've been doing this. This is successful. Like, you don't get to come here and fucking change. If you don't like it, there's the fucking door.
The average American male has been encouraged to become a beta fucking pussy.
But what happened to like somebody standing up and saying, hey, if you don't like it, there's the fucking door.
Yeah.
You can go north or south far enough and you're going to be out of the fucking problem zone.
Yeah.
But that's kind of leadership, standing for what you feel are values and what you will
And
inherently
leadership
give
is no
in
longer
and resist.
promoted.
Yeah,
What's
and
promoted is completion of forms and bureaucracy, right? When bureaucracy takes hold, bureaucracy values documentation.
Yeah.
Was the form filled out correctly? Can we file it correctly? Blah, 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 blah. And actual leadership, which has nothing to do with fucking paperwork or forms or anything. It has to do with people and intangibles, gets left by the wayside.
And I think that's exactly how we got here as leadership. Like texting with you guys earlier, I thought, like, I talked about class warfare. And I think everyone wants us to believe that there's division through
Racial.
color and racial, but I think it's an economic thing. That
100%.
I mean, there's poor black people, there's rich black people, there's poor Mexicans, there's rich Mexicans. It goes beyond color. It goes towards where the money's coming from. But if I really had to think about it, beside what allowed the money to get to this point, and what that is weak leadership from where we had strong leadership. When you have the ability to have institutions and higher levels of government corrupted and benefiting whoever, and this has been throughout time. This isn't the first fucking time, but that's what allows it, is weak leadership, weak men, weak women. I'm woke,
But
say who you want, but that's what it is.
I think there is, it goes through all government, down to county, down to fucking township, right? Like,
But on the highest level, the morals get set. This is where the bar is. When I have someone that's
But if
like
you're gonna
a Lincoln or
affect
a
change-
Washington, this is who I'm trying to enact like. And when less of those people are held high, when you don't have regal icons that are set forth for you to be like, this is who I want to strive towards, that's where it starts to happen too. It's the slow dissolve.
the fact of
It's
the
the
matter
tearing
is,
down
like,
of statues.
I
That's so bad
I
to
think
say.
people get not confused. I think people think that as a government, like a politician, you have to be this smart, eloquent person.
Statesman.
You
Yeah.
don't. You don't.
No.
And almost.
What's the
shouldn't.
guy from Pennsylvania that wore the
Oh,
Carhartt?
fucking A. No,
he
that's-
proved that.
That's but no, he's
Fetterman.
He's a
Kevin
different
Fetterman.
That's a different guy. That's a
He had a stroke too.
yeah. I'm talking about as far as like we put these people on a pedestal that they shouldn't be on. And that's the problem.
That's true.
You start
we
to- you
honor
start
them
to-
as though they are true leaders, and they really are not.
You-
they haven't done anything to earn our adulation or our respect. Can you name
Dude,
They're very few. There's
Governor
Has
is
Jay
30
Inslee-
motherfuckers. You know the amount of fucking tournaments you show up to and there's more than 30 people? Like, and that's running for governor.
yeah.
So
Wait,
there's
hang on.
not
You said
that
tournaments or
Yeah, I'm talking about any competition. The amount of competitions you show up to, and there's more than 30 people.
oh yeah.
in your fucking
governor,
bracket.
it's two.
Right now, governor's what's this 30?
But that's
there's
allowed
31?
by the
There's,
party.
you're saying there's 31 people running for governor in Washington State,
Yeah,
but how many are really going to get votes? 2, 3?
I don't know. You tell me.
I'm going to say 3.
Okay, so call it 3, but there's still that many that can enter,
Okay.
right? So
But if you had a governor running and got famous on TikTok,
there you go.
that's the thing. Yeah, that's the barrier.
Yeah,
That breaks it down. Yeah.
So I just
That's interesting.
we're in this fucking weird thing where we allow people
Just
like
two
you said-
people, two options.
Yeah,
When
And
it's like you have all these options
and
in front
weak-
of you and putting
and-
the voice out
And
there.
the reality
right?
is they're
Yeah.
weak options. It's rarely good options. You're taking the lesser of two evils, and
maybe we change that though.
No, we're back to the entire thing needs to be reset so that we can replace.
There's a lot of independence. And
all
a lot
of
of fucking,
all of this weak leadership needs to be replaced with strong leadership.
Well, maybe this is the reset.
And an attitude. Yes, I hope so. I hope this is the reset, and an attitude that the government works for the people, and it's the government's job to help small business and large business alike succeed and not suppress one or the other.
Yeah.
It should be, because it's taxpayer funded, it should be a leg up to the taxpayers. And it's so fucked up that it is actively opposing so many of us. And so many people are like, did you see the latest episode of Tiger King? And they're not paying attention. And it's, man, the fucking government that you fund is actively opposing you.
This is why I started looking up that ignorance is bliss thing.
Yeah.
Because part of me thinks that at some point you bury your head in the sand just for relief.
Yeah.
Because
it's scary. It's scary.
Well,
it is scary.
It's not scary.
No, it is.
The scary part is the fact that you have no fucking say.
Yeah.
That's the scary part. Because I don't care if you don't pay your taxes.
I think we do have a say. I think if you stop paying your taxes, suddenly you're going to have a very big say. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
hear what I'm saying?
I do hear what you're saying, but you alone?
No, me alone.
Dude, fuck all.
But
you alone will get arrested.
But here's the moment. Or maybe that is
it's a call
moment.
to action.
Maybe it's the moment when I stand in my front yard and say I'm not going to jail.
Well,
and now we have decisions to make because I've made mine.
But you alone is not, like I was saying, episode.
Look at how all the things happened
55.
with COVID and mandates and people
people
just
caved,
fucking buckling.
Yeah, they buckled.
Bending the knee.
Yeah, because we live in a society of weak fucking men.
Yeah, so when you start standing up and doing what you're saying and not paying taxes and just saying, you know what, fuck you, until you start representing me the way I want to be represented, I'm not going to fucking give you any money.
Yeah,
and
I'm glad we agree.
Yes, 100% we agree. Yeah. Without fucking question. I think everybody agrees with that. And that's the fucking problem, right? Because everybody understands, hey, you know what? If I don't give my fucking money...
Now we need the courage to fucking do it.
Yeah, well,
let's
it's not the solo, it's the masses going.
Exactly.
It's the same as
it's tough to go against the current.
Vigilantism.
Yeah, nobody wants to make a ripple in the calm pond.
Yeah.
It's not a calm pond anymore, though. We're not living
that's
in a
what I'm saying.
That's
the disruption has reached a level where this is
swamp
now possible.
Being drained.
Now it's possible. Yeah. Don't look at me like that anymore. But the idea is that because of the disruption we're all experiencing right now across the nation, the pond, you're right, the pond has become sort of choppy. And this is the time. If there ever were a time to make a change, it's right fucking now. Because nobody wants to disturb the pond when it's smooth. But it's not smooth right now. So everybody's kind of in a disturbed state.
Well,
do you think it would be beneficial for us to get rid of the Republican Party and the fucking Democratic Party and all of a sudden just
a new system might be better?
Because it's just an oligarchy.
It's broken.
Is what it is. It's an oligarchy.
And the third tier never gets in. I was Ross Perot back before I even knew I was Ross Perot.
No shit. I'm Ross Perot. I'm fucking Ron Paul, and I'm RFK.
Yeah.
But we'll probably vote for your boy this year. Don't worry, Jordan.
Don't worry.
Well, the thing is like I enjoy the disruption that it causes.
Yeah.
Like that's
I
all
never thought I would have enjoyed it until I saw it really happen. And it's like, this is nuts.
In the very beginning, I was like, this is my fucking guy, simply because not my guy, like I agree with what he's doing or like think he's going to make it, make a change, because he's not going to talk like the rest of them.
Yeah,
that's all it takes.
A
small fucking change.
You know what's
like
funny?
him tweeting at night.
In the 2016 election, I voted for Gary Johnson because I did not believe
out of Arizona.
Yeah, I did not believe that Trump was capable of being presidential.
Let me help you. Who's Gary Johnson?
He was the libertarian candidate.
Right.
Yeah,
He's not
the president, Jordan.
There you go.
That's what he's. It's
there
not President Gary
and
Johnson.
That's why
Gary
I started
Johnson.
thinking about fucking the Washington governor race, and I look at Simi Bird and I look at
Dave Reichert. But he's a piece of shit.
Well, who?
Reichert.
So,
but he's ahead. So what do we do? Do we
So
vote
this
for
is-
Semi Bird, who's who we want, or do we vote for Reichert, knowing that he's a Republican by name who votes as a Democrat?
So he will not win. Dave Reichert will not win.
That's true. We're stuck with
He-
Bob
he-
Ferguson,
he will
which
not
means
win.
we might get our revolution.
So
Fuck it. Vote for your Semi Bird. Do your heart.
Yeah, I'm checking
I'm-
Semi
This
Bird.
is the
I'm
year
voting
where
for-
There's no option. I'm voting for Semi Bird.
I'm voting for Semi Bird without question. But what I'm saying is, if I wish people would change that, because I think Semi Bird has a legitimate shot against a Democratic candidate
You're right.
versus
Yes.
Dave Reichert.
Yes, agreed.
Being a black
Agreed.
man,
Yep.
which counts for fucking everything,
And like
these
a
days.
true,
and that's the truth. In
true
Seattle,
he's a true traditional values guy without being. He's really not hard right. He's very centrist. He's just kind of common
most
sense.
righter centrist and most lefter centrist. It's all the most
Not in 2024,
it's the
Mike.
extremes.
Not in 2024.
I'm left. The party changed, dude. The party left.
yeah.
That you have.
Well, that was my
everyone's
my
an
grandparents.
independent.
My grandparents, for
Everyone's
the
an
longest
independent.
fucking time. They were like, we are Democrats through
Yeah.
and through, and not until they realized that every time they voted Democratic or it was costing
what we
so
should do?
much fucking money
The
because
party
you know,
changed.
it could change a lot of things really quickly. Is stop forcing people to register as one party or the other.
Yeah, that's why.
Why do you force people to identify as Republican or Democrat? Literally every American citizen should be registered as independent.
Yeah.
Or American. Exactly. And,
Well,
and that would go a long ways towards stopping identity politics, where people think they have to vote based on party lines. You should vote based on which thing. Jordan's getting the snack.
Well, that's why I said like it doesn't like the 2-party system stupid. Even the 3-party, because the third never gets involved. We need to figure it out where it isn't party based. I know back in the day it was for different representation, but it's like, to me, Mike Zedong, it seems like there is the ability to represent everyone and for ideas to merge and come out from nowhere due to the ability of expression and representation. I think what this is we're hitting a new level of existence, boys. Oh, you fuckers.
I know.
no, I just want
Yeah,
to make
no,
sure it's not.
we're tracking.
Are you getting
So tracking on that.
You're not on the Kozak Highway.
Dude,
Let me see your express pass. It's
It's
HOV.
Yeah, yeah.
You two fairies on the back of a 250. The old T-dub, dude. Not pulling weight.
Hey, listen, I heard
can
that Reader Pit has been revitalized. There's a bunch of good trails out there. We have to go check it out.
I heard they closed it down since I tore it up.
This is Mike went out and ripped it up. Oh my god.
Still got the scar.
Yeah.
The road rash. It's all good. All right, boys. What are we doing here?
I think
Was this our...
This is what we went revolution, jujitsu,
yeah.
back to revolution.
back to revolution.
Nah, it was... Is it revolution or representation?
Representation, which can lead to revolution when you're dissatisfied with your representation.
And I feel like representation can also be disenfranchised representation, where you're just
False. It's not even.
You
here's
don't
the thing.
feel like you're
it's
represented.
Not actually representation
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
It's bought and paid for, sell you down the river system.
So this episode's called Pissed Off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Pissed off plus a little jujitsu.
I think it's important for people to vote in local elections more than national.
Yes.
And
Get involved.
I think that
Although this year,
Whatever get involved means,
Do
writing letters
everything.
or
Do
signing
everything.
I
petitions.
think
Yeah,
getting
write
I think
letters,
getting into
do
the
it
government.
all.
I think going and saying "fuck it," I'm going to run for town
or,
mayor.
or withholding your taxes, because nothing will change anything
That's
faster.
the most getting
Then-
involved.
Literally imagine 100,000 people saying we're not paying taxes anymore. And suddenly there will, do you realize the level of panic that will hit the state legislature of your state? If you could get 100,000 people in your state, or maybe even 10,000, to say, we won't pay taxes anymore. Fuck you. Come get them. Come get them.
it's a shame you never hear that drone coming before it strikes. Yeah.
But I'm ready. Here's the thing. Do I want to keep living this existence where 2019, I was on top of the world, man. Life was good. I had money coming in, money going into savings, into investments. Everything was great. 2024, I'm paycheck to paycheck. And I've moved up in responsibility and pay scale. But somehow I've moved down in quality of life. And I get it. It's still America. We still live a very high quality of life. And I'm not like blind to that. I appreciate it. But at the same time, I realize that could be, it doesn't need to be this.
Well,
the idea of living a life of abundance where you don't have to worry week to week about making bills it's not that unrealistic. Even in the third world, like countries like we said, over in Africa, like like the Congo, and
Brother, they're not
Sierra
worried about
Leone.
making bills.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're stuck in slavery, working for the man so that you can have an iPhone battery. But it doesn't have to be that way. And we are stuck in this system, and we could overthrow it in a fucking heartbeat if we all just said, no, we are not paying for it, because the system does not create value. We create the value. We do. We are the creators. God created man in his image, which means that we can create value from nothing. But the people who take from us, they are not creating. They are leeches who take, and they take, and they take, and they take. And it's literally as simple as just starving them, because we can turn off the blood flow to them because we are the creators. I think that might be the note I want to end it on. One last PSA, boys. Wash your fucking pee.